Mr. Hearn.
Yes, sir.
It's good to have you on, man.
You good to be here with you, Mr. Fett.
See, it's going to be a surprise to a lot of people that I have you on because they don't know that I've known you for a long time. For me, for now. Not for you. You lived a little longer than me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You and I have known each other for at least 10, 15 years? Probably close to 15?
Yeah, I was going to say it's been since before I graduated, so maybe like 08, I believe.
Okay.
08, 09, somewhere.
So it's at least 10 years. Yeah.
Because I met you at church, but before then I was in the basketball league, so I knew of you, and I knew of you through fellowship and stuff.
Now, when did you attend fellowship?
Oh, my family was going to fellowship since it pretty much started. Yeah, before they had any additions onto it,
Okay.
like the whole, like I went there from maybe 5, 6, or 7 all the way up until like my freshman year of high school or something.
Yeah, actually, I was attending that church. We started attending that church when Reggie was a baby, and Reggie is 27 now. So
Wow.
we don't attend there anymore, but that's when we started.
Oh, really?
Reggie. Yeah, we don't. But Reggie is 20. When he was a baby, that's when me and his mom started attending that church.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a while ago. It doesn't seem like it.
Just a little while.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, I'm 27, so.
Yeah. So yeah, and Reggie's 27. So I got introduced to that church about 27 years ago.
Why aren't you there anymore?
We, Tanya and I, Reggie, me and his mom broke up.
Mm-hmm.
So when Tanya and I got married, we were looking for a church, kind of like me and Reggie's mom. We were looking for a church that would be comfortable for an interracial couple.
Mm.
And so Sydney, our daughter, she liked the church, and Reggie liked the church. But as Sydney got older, we found that she was starting to have some other interests. So we started visiting different churches just to see what was out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we became a family that liked to visit churches. And it's funny because today we were talking to a lady and she asked us what church. And I said, well, we don't really have a church home. We just kind of visit. And I said, a friend of mine he told me one time, and he's a pastor, he said he would visit different churches.
Mm-hmm.
And he's from Africa. And I said, well, what denomination are you? He goes, I'm Christian. And I said, You're from Africa, you're Christian? He just laughed. He goes, yeah, I'm a Christian. He says, but the way I look at it is, if you and I are Christians and other Christians are visiting or at other churches, shouldn't I be able to go to any church and visit since we all see Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior? He says, shouldn't I be able to go worship with any Christian anywhere? And I go, yeah, I never had anybody put it like that, but that makes logical sense. He goes, I'm not religious. He said, I'm a Christian. I follow Christ. And I go, wow. So we kind of took that, and we've been visiting churches ever since. And it's interesting when you start visiting different churches in the city, you really get to see all these kinds of people and their ways of thinking. And it's funny, every time you go to a different church, they always, oh yeah, oh, we'd love for you to come back. You want to think about being a member? If I became a member of every church we visited, I would be going to
you wouldn't even have no free time or work time or anything.
I see now.
Monday through Sunday program.
You're right. I see now why they call this a city of restaurants and churches. Churches are everywhere.
Oh yeah, my mom, she would still attend fellowship, but kind of float around too, and try to be at a church for maybe a month or so, and then just move on to another one, just because that's how her spirit felt, I guess, to just go visit around.
We're not even there a month.
Yeah,
we might go visit your church today, as this Sunday and next Sunday, and then I was reading something recently where this one really got me, where Sunday is really not Sabbath. I know you've heard that before. Saturday is the true Sabbath.
Yep.
So my wife and I have been talking about that, and so now that's catapulting us into looking at where are the Christians who worship on Saturdays. And that's something I was raised, you just didn't do. You went to church on Sunday, and people would kill you over that. Now, I'm saying, well, if that's because the guy I was reading, he says, well, if you look at the 10 Commandments, and I know we're going way off the subject, but this is
you're good.
Interesting topic.
Go ahead.
He said, if you look at the 10 Commandments, most Christians and pastors, anybody you talk to, they will uphold the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy God. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. That's commandment number 1. Number 2, you shall, I believe you shall it's basically love your neighbors. I think. But anyway, I don't know. I'm gonna memorize them. I don't have them yet.
You good?
But if you look at the 10 Commandments, most Christians will tell you every one of those 10 Commandments is something that they strive to follow. But then if you look at commandment number 4, which is remember the Sabbath, they'll look at you and go, well, that's up for debate. And we go, and I'm going, yeah, but is it the 10 Commandments? Or is it the 10 debates? Or is it the 10 suggestions? And people go, well, yeah, but that's Old Testament. I'm going, no, the book I'm reading teaches that Jesus was in the New Testament as well as the Old Testament. If you really read it, it says he is the Word, he is the truth, and the Word and the truth is mentioned in Old Testament. So Jesus, he's part of God. He's all things, all time. So the book has really got me thinking now. I'm saying, okay, if we truly are following the 10 Commandments, why is it, as this guy says in books, why is it that true Christians will follow the 9 Commandments, but on commandment number 10, we debate it? And he brought up another good point. He says, think about this. Commandment number 4, remember the Sabbath, is the only commandment that starts with remember. So God was trying to send us a message and say, I know this is going to come up for debate later, but remember. And I'm going, ooh, that's got me really thinking.
Yeah. So, anytime I read the word, I went from, because we would read full text or like a full summary, because in the Bible it would be like Saul's story, and we would read the whole thing. Now I learned the more going, you got to take that literally, sentence by sentence, and most time word by word, because you're going to miss something just thinking it's just some old regular part of the Bible that don't really apply to nothing, don't got any real meaning. And it's like, that's the complete opposite in some of the stuff that doesn't have any action, or because a lot of people cling to most things in the Bible of Jesus getting on the cross and anything that has some sort of action, people seem to remember a lot more. But when it comes to the small, finer things, people just like, oh, well, yeah, that don't really matter, does it?
Right.
We can change that part. And once you on that, you're on a slippery slope.
Exactly. I had a friend of mine tell me, he says, well, I read the Bible. I said, well, good. He goes, don't be judging me. I said, I'm just having a conversation. I'm not judging jury. He goes, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even mess with the Old Testament. I said, really? I said, well, Proverbs happens to be one of my favorite books. And he goes, well, Proverbs got some good stuff. It's got some good stuff, but I don't even mess with that. The only thing I pay attention to is the gospel, the 4 Gospels. It's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Anything else, I don't even worry about it. And I looked at him, I said,
it's a lot of people like that.
I know. And I said, well, he goes, there you go judging. I said, well, I can't judge you. I said, but the Bible has 66 books, and you're telling me there's only 4 that are relevant to you. And he goes, right. Okay, well, obviously you're not somebody that wants to change his mind. He goes, no. I said, well, I'm done with it. He goes, oh, you ain't gonna... No, you just told me where you are. I mean,
and people can't stand that. I learned that growing, like, just the last 8 years. I'm like, so what you want me to do is keep arguing with you.
You want me to try to convince them.
Right.
I'm not into convincing them.
Yeah. No, I understand. I'm like, I don't need to change your heart or your mind. That's just, what is that going to do? I just think things in nature and just letting things happen organically changes people's mind, and you forcing it. Now being an example or a witness or something like that is completely different, but sitting there every day trying to change somebody's heart is just, that's like trying to make somebody that's purely a racist and open racist about it change. If they don't want to, how you gonna make them change? Now you just looking silly arguing with them. You getting out of character to argue with somebody that likes being out of character.
Exactly.
That don't make sense to me. I don't want to do it.
I'm not gonna just get into an argument. To me, if you got a fool who stands on one thing and they won't move, and if you argue with them, now you got 2 fools. That's the way I've always looked at life. So if that's where you are, I'm sure you got your reasons. As long as where you are doesn't impede with me or mine, then you can stay there. I mean, but I think what you said is right. Our job is to live a life that exemplifies Christianity, exemplifies Christ, and then that'll be the living testimony. And if that doesn't change them, then maybe they're not supposed to be changed yet. So
to me, after that point, I don't even want to take my mind to wonder about even getting, because I've done too many wrongs, and I don't want somebody, because you never know where they at in life. They could change when you're not even around. You just you just never know anymore. Right. So I don't want to put myself in a position where I am changing them even inside, because then I'll start doing that here and there, and then I'll just pick up a bad habit.
Yeah.
So I try not even to start stuff like that, and any bad habits I do got, it's best to just try and cut them off as well. Just I like to tell people, why can't we just act normal? And they're like, but why would you want to be normal? No, just listen to me. Why can't we just do simple things instead of just making mountains out of molehills, as they say, or just making issues out of non-issues at all.
Mr.
At this point.
Some people like drama.
Oh yes,
some people are drama kings and drama queens, and there's just a lot of people who they've been exposed to drama so much that they don't know any other way to live.
Yep, I was gonna say that happened to me. Yeah. Whenever I was younger, I was like, why do I keep finding myself in like these drama fields? And then I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, well, it's you, bro. You keep putting yourself in these silly situations. Don't blame anybody else.
And it cracks me up. People my age will say, well, I'm moving. And people your age, I'm moving.
Oh,
I said, where you moving? Oh, I'm tired of stuff. I had this one lady, she says, I'm just tired of stuff in Fort Wayne.
Guilty.
And I'm looking at her going, this is drama talk. I'm okay, where's this going? I said, so where you moving to? I think I'm going to move back out to Phoenix. I said, okay, didn't you tell me that you had some problems in Phoenix? Well, yeah, but I'm going back out there, but I'm not going to get into it, that kind of stuff this time. I looked at her, I said, you want to just tell me this, or you want my response? She goes, I know you want to give it to me, only if you want it.
Right.
And she goes, okay, I know what you're going to say. I said, I don't think you know what I'm going to say. She goes, okay, go ahead. I said, look. And then she cut me off. She goes, don't be telling me that when I go back out there, you just clean my act up. I said, no, that's not what I'm going to say. She goes, okay, I do want to hear it. I said, look, it's like this. I heard a long time ago that if we leave from here and go to Phoenix, for instance, or Cleveland, or Green Bay, or Miami Beach, or wherever you're going to go, the problem is we're taking me with me. I said, now, you got to look at yourself and ask yourself, are you part of the drama? No, I said, no, I'm not telling you are. I don't even know you. I said, but you got to ask yourself, are you part of the drama? Because what happens to most of us, if we go back to familiar land, we start hanging out with familiar people. Mm-hmm. And then those people expect us to be the same familiar self.
Yep.
They don't expect you to change. I said, for instance, I'm a product of that. I used to be this way, and then I became this way, and now people see me as a business person versus seeing me as Crane. I said, and I wanted that change, but it has to go through a metamorphosis. You have to change who you are before you can become somebody different. And that, like you said, you have to look at yourself, and most of us are not willing to do that.
Yeah, I think that right there, because I say that to people my age, and they look at me crazy. Right. I'm just like,
they're not ready
I
to
know,
change.
right? And I'm like, I know this is going over your head. I tell my cousin all the time, I'm just like, listen, bro, you can't keep just putting the responsibility of what goes on in your life on other people.
Yes, he can.
Huh?
Yes, he can. You said to him, he can't keep doing it. Yes, he can.
Well, no, I mean, if he wants to be, less drunk. If he's coming,
he obviously doesn't.
Right. Well, no, yeah, I tell him that. But I'm saying if he comes, because he comes to me with this, I don't just volunteer my service. That's what I'm saying. I don't volunteer these talks to people. They come to me, and it's just like, well, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to hype the situation. I'm not going to involve myself. I'm not going to tell you was right or wrong. I'm not in it. I'm just going to tell you what the truth is about the situation. Why? Because I do it to myself. Right. And people don't seem to understand that, because I let my girlfriend know all the time, like, I know you think I'm hard on you or other people or something, but you guys just got to think, how hard do you think people like me are to themselves? Right. How much do you think we try to keep ourselves in check? Even if we're in the middle of doing wrong, we'll still like snap out and be like, okay, pull yourself back, calm down, use your brain, stop being so emotionally filled and just driven to react to everything.
Yes, sir.
You can't react to everything like that. Everything needs a reaction, but not immediately.
You are growing up, my man.
Oh man, so too much. I had to. Like you was just talking. Whenever I was 18 to 21. That's all I want to do. Mostly because I didn't know a solution. I didn't have somebody like you at the time because I was just too busy doing my own thing and being young and all types of stuff. But whenever I was getting fed up with stuff, and I was like, well, really just fed up with yourself, man. Like, you can't keep moving and then still having problems and just blame other people. It's just a talk I had to have myself, and those talks just kept happening. Like, and then I was open and to understand more things, and things just change over time. But it starts with a step, and then you just gotta work towards it. I just found it's just stuff you gotta keep putting in repetition.
Right.
Burn that muscle memory in your brain and take out all the other bad habits, or just one by one. Because even now, I still catch myself like trying to explain myself to somebody, thinking on my end we're just having a conversation, but they're either upset or they want to argue, and then I catch myself halfway through this argument like, oh, so you're just arguing and you want the last word or something. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I know through texting communication or something like that on social media, it's harder for people to gauge attitudes or something like that, but when I really feel like if people are seeking out stuff like that, they anticipate an argument to break out, waiting for it to happen. And it's just like, not everybody wants to do that. Like, I'm not on a debate show. I'll go on them, but everyday life isn't a debate show for me. I don't need to prove certain things. Everything else besides your dreams, passions, and your family is just opinion to me. It's just truly opinion at this point. I can't change you. I don't want to. I hope we all can share just all our likes and dislikes and just act normal about stuff, but for some of us it's just hard. I don't know.
And you said that twice. What is acting normal to you? What is normal to you?
To me, I expect everybody to have their own quirk to them, or their own way of doing things or thinking or acting. But to me, normal is just being polite, just common basic stuff you learn in kindergarten. Or
what if they're not a polite person?
If they don't want, but
normal for them.
Well, I mean, for society and the rules that we have, if you could say that it's not normal for somebody if they're like used to murdering, but that to society it's not okay to go killing somebody. That's what I'm getting at. So
well, yeah, those are the extremes. Getting back to the Ten Commandments, but let me give you another scenario. You live in an apartment right now.
Yeah,
I used to live in apartments. We all do when we're young. So let's say that you're a person who keeps to yourself, which I'm assuming that you are. I mean, looking at your setup, I'm pretty sure you're the kind of person who keeps to yourself in this neighborhood, right? But let's say your neighbor, when I pull up, the brother's sitting outside 2 doors down with his dog, and the door's wide open, and I think they had a screen up for the bugs, but he's sitting outside. Now what if, and then somebody was sitting in the car, so what if they got their music and they got the boom boxes, and their boom boxes on steroids, and they play their stuff, and I can hear it when I'm turning down the street. What if that's normal for them?
If that's normal for them, I understand. No, that's those type of things.
But if they do that all the time,
I don't mind those things. I'm saying being inconsiderate about it to do it all the time. Or
I'm saying if they did that,
well, then that's not cool. I mean,
but it's normal for them.
Right.
It's not normal for you. So that's why I asked you, what's your definition of normal?
Right.
Because as I've aged, I realized people have different definitions.
Right, and I'm saying and I learned that in school as well. You got to find a definition of what somebody thinks is what you said, like normal, or what's their definition of being happy, or anything, like to a crackhead, that's for them happy, a collector happy, you know what I mean? So,
but even smaller, even lesser things like young men who walk around 16 to 20, pants, you can see their drawers. I mean, that much of their drawers are showing. That's normal for them and their culture. It's not normal for me. In my business life and the people I mix with, that's not normal. And if I did that, I wouldn't have much of a business doing business with them. And some people say, well, I can do business my own way. Okay, you can, but who's going to be your market? Who are you going to do business with? Are you going to do business with other people that got their pants sagging? Okay, that's cool, but do they have the money you're looking for to do business with them? So normal, and you say, normal, I got to look at normal as everybody has their own way. I have to be a chameleon, and I have to be able to blend in to be able to do business or to mix with those individuals. That is not an easy thing to do, because that goes back to what you were saying before, where you have to be willing to change self. Self has to be willing to change. I remember watching one of the Medea movies. I never forgot it. And he was doing Medea goes to jail, and he was doing a monologue, and he says, as the great Maya Angelou said many, many years ago in one of her poems, he said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And I always remembered that. I was like, man, that's profound. Medea had to teach me that, but that's profound. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. So when is a person willing to change to be able to speak your language of your definition of normal? That's the question. Because if I'm mixing with somebody who plays their music really, really loud, I'm not going to do that, because I know it could be inconsiderate to my neighbor David, who's down there, and he may be doing some recording. I don't know. But the point is, I'm not going to play my music that loud, because it could interfere with everyone else. Some people don't look at it that way. I'm not going to wear my pants that way with my pants sagging, because that's not accommodating to everyone else. Some people don't look at it that way. So our definition of normal is completely different. And I've just learned, as a servant, as a follower of Christ, I've got to learn how, like Jesus did, I got to learn how to be a chameleon and mix with other people and have one thing in mind. I have my standards and I have what I follow, but I have to be able to mix with other people. Why? Because that was the second commandment. He said, love others just like you love yourself. That's the second commandment, roughly paraphrased. Well, if I'm like Jesus and I'm trying to, like David, you called me and you said, hey man, can you come over here and let's do this? Yeah, what you need? Well, I could easily have said, I'm too busy. You know, I could say that. Well, I knew him a long time. No, but I wanted to see you again. I wanted to help you out. And that's another thing, is how many people are willing to actually go outside of their own comfort zone to help people. Now, you've always been that kind of person. Ever since I've met you, you've always been the kind of person who wants to go outside of your comfort, maybe a little bit too far outside your comfort zone sometimes, to help other people.
Well, because like you said, like a chameleon, I've been in every environment. So because to me, like you were saying, before we go too far, what I meant by normal is just like normal interactions with people, being considerate, and that may vary from people, but I'm just
saying.
Some
people ain't considerate.
Right, but that's just what I mean. I don't mean like how they live their life or anything like that.
Right.
That's beyond anything that I care about. But if I come into some dude, no matter what walk of life he is or person in general, and just a good interaction, you know what I mean? So whatever that may be. But I've been, to me, this is more comfortable of an environment than living in just a uppity neighborhood, or just being in some sort of environment where it's like too over the top formal, where like people are just being something that they really aren't, like whenever they go home. And I understand there's tones, you need to be professional, and there's a time and place for everything, but there is, to me, even in those environments, like, you're doing a little too much. Like, just tone it down for me. And they don't need to, but that's just what I'm thinking. Like, I would prefer, my preference, if we could just handle this like normal people. Everybody just,
I get you.
You know what I mean? We could interact without the cup of tea and all that. And the same thing on the other end. I don't want to go to an environment where people just showing they behind the whole time, or, you know, just acting too just outlandish.
Right.
And it's just like, okay. I don't even know where this is going. I don't even want to be here no more. So I've been in any environment between that. So to me, I can be a chameleon in all those positions. So
I believe you.
That's why I've gone too far.
Now, weren't you in the military? Mm-hmm. Okay. Navy, was it?
No, Army.
Army.
Yeah.
How long were you in?
3 years, 3.5 years.
What'd you learn?
That'd be a whole other podcast.
What's the main thing you learned?
The one thing I could pull from it was discipline and leadership.
Okay.
And that's because we all had to have discipline through some of the most annoying or ignorant or just astounding times that just didn't make sense. Right. And it was just, they was testing you to be disciplined. And then the leadership part is just pretty much halfway through being there, I got thrown into those roles, or just confronted to be in them, and it's hard. It's challenging. It's something you can get used to. at the end of the day, I don't think I want to be responsible for other people's actions. You know, like I can manage them, and I can, you know, flip it to where it make it seem like it's not a big deal, or manipulate the situation or something in a positive way. But as far as like a person, what I've always remembered is you telling every young cat to come across you, including your own children, is to find something you like and something you're good at, and just put them two things together. Well, I found things I like, and I'm not too sure about something I'm good at just yet, but I'm still figuring that out every day. So I'd still try to keep that in mind and just work on that. I learned to let go of all the true meaningless things, or things that will always just be there, because I can go pick up and do those things anytime,
right? And
just focus on things that actually matter to me. Okay. So
excellent. Well, you did learn something then, because I mean, one of the things you learn from what I heard is you kind of, what I used to teach is you backed into what I'm talking about the military. You backed into what was positive for you. So you figured out what you didn't like, and you figured out, as a leader, I don't like being responsible for other people's actions. That's pretty much what a leader has to be.
Oh yeah.
So you decided, I don't want to be that kind of leader. Remember Sydney, our daughter? She's in the military now.
Oh, really?
Indiana Army National Guard.
Wow.
Yeah. Matter of fact, she's in her AIT. That's what it's called.
Yep.
She's in Southern, what is it? Southern Fort Howard Chuka, I think. Southern Arizona. I think it's Fort Howard Chuka.
Wow.
And oh man, we ain't got time. But anyway, she's there, obviously female, and she's doing the rucking. She's saying, "Oh, Dad, you don't understand, because women, when it comes to rucking, women always shatter their hips." I said, "They always shatter their hips?" "Well, a lot, yeah." "Okay, so is it a lot or is it always?" "Dad, I'm trying to learn." She says, "A lot." I said, "So you're telling me that's not 100%? "Well, no." "Aren't you stronger than most women you know?" So what I'm finding is she's gone off. She got through boot camp, fine. Then, because she's very physical, then she gets to her AIT and she fails her first test.
Because that's all about this when you get down there.
But there's other people who've passed it. And then she's calling us, "I don't know if I can do this." I said, "I don't want to hear that shit." And she goes, "You don't understand." I don't need to understand. Only thing I need to understand is you said that you wanted to go to the military to achieve X, Y, Z in your goals. So if you don't achieve your goals, then you fail. "You don't need to talk to me like that." Yes, I do need to talk to you like that, because obviously you're not realizing why you're there. You're getting caught up in all this drama with all these other girls. You ain't never had a sister. You've never had a roommate. Now all of a sudden you're telling us about all this junk that's going on with these other females, and it sounds like drama to me. And then she gets quiet. She starts listening. I said, "We have taught you not to get caught down, beat down by drama. Everything you're talking about has got drama dripping all over it, and you wonder why you haven't passed yet." "No, you don't. No, you need to stop and listen. Your problem is you have gotten there and you've allowed these other people, to change who you are and how you operate. That's the problem. You shouldn't even be there." "Well, I know I shouldn't be there." You should have graduated already. But because you've gotten caught up in all this stuff that has nothing to do with why you're there. Yeah, these people have gotten to your head, but the wrong people have gotten into your head. Your leaders are not getting into your head. Everybody you're rooming with has gotten to your head. So now you're talking about things like that you've never been concerned about. "I want to spend money on buying stuff over here for how pretty I am." I mean, she didn't say it like that, but she's getting makeup. And we're seeing all these kind of costs come in through her account. And I'm going, okay, you're making money now, and you're spending it on stuff that has never interested you. Doesn't that tell you something? No. Okay, well, you're bored. You're out there in the middle of nowhere, so you're spending money. Okay, but you're spending money on things that have nothing to do with anything Sydney ever was interested in. Because you're hanging out with all these girls, now you're getting your nails done. She's getting, nothing against tattoos, but she's gotten tattoos. She's never interested in that stuff. Now you're getting around all these people and you're doing stuff that you never were interested in before, and you wonder why you haven't passed your AIT test. You wonder how come you haven't moved on. Because your life has gotten stuck on a ledge. Your life has gotten stuck on a plateau with people that have never done anything you've ever been interested in. You're getting influenced by peer pressure. She was, "No, it's not that simple." That's exactly what it is. It's peer pressure. and you're getting influenced by it.
Sad.
Yeah, and that's it. And now you wonder why your life is not going where you want it to go. This is what we've been training you on. Once you get out from under mom and dad's wings, or anybody that loves you, you will find out everything. If they loved you and they taught you right, everything they've been trying to teach you, they were teaching you for a reason. Because once you get out there in the real cruel world, the cold cruel world, you'll find out why the stuff we taught you is the stuff we taught you. Because you have to stay laser focused when you're that age. Because especially
anything
nowadays,
can just
there's so much that just knock you right off your path.
See, I had that's not as bad as her, because I like I said, whenever I went to AIT, I was a student platoon sergeant, so I was in charge of 50 people.
Okay.
So I had an instance, this tattoo right here, the upper part of it, I did not have a weekend pass, and my friends like peer pressured me into it, and I fell for it, and I went and snuck off base and got a tattoo. And whenever I got back, they weren't looking for me, but they were looking for a bunch of people that had snuck off base. Thank God I didn't even get caught, but it taught me a lesson to not even attempt anything like this even in the future. Like, because my friends and everything, not that they snitched on me or anything, but I was the one that got questioned 4 or 5 times. Like, I was a part of a criminal investigation. Exactly. They had the light on me the whole night. It's just like,
and that's exactly what happened to her.
Yeah,
that's and she's like, well, and then she goes to, well, I went off base without permission, but then my roommate told on me, and I can't believe she told me. I said, no, stop talking. No, you don't. I said, no, stop talking. You're talking like a child. And she goes, what? You're blaming someone else for something that you did. But she didn't have to. No, there you go again. You're blaming someone else for something that you did. Well, yeah, if I hadn't gone off base, none of that would happen. Exactly. But no. Take personal responsibility. That's part of growing up. If you F up, you gotta pay the piper. And Dad, I said, no, let's keep it real. They use the real words with you down there. She starts laughing. I said, you effed up. Guess what? Now, it doesn't matter what everybody else did. Now you have got to answer for your mess up. And it doesn't matter if she told on you. It doesn't matter why she told on you. She's told on you. So what difference does it make why? Now you know if someone shows you who they are, believe them.
I think that's a big problem with us, like young people.
Friends,
mostly
that word called friends. I hate that y'all use that word so loosely.
Not me. Not you. But they just can't. You gotta understand where you messed up. You gotta understand where nobody carried you off base. That's what, that's what I told, because I was hiding the tattoo, rolling around in the dirt, Crane. I'm telling you, the tattoo didn't even heal good, whatever it got done. I was like, see, this wasn't even worth it.
It's not.
This wasn't even worth it. I got people snitching on me. Yep. It was so bad that, because it was just like, when you in that situation, it's the cool thing to do. Yeah. And the people around you, you know what I mean? If you in good to hang out with them. Right. If you in good gracious with them, though, like they most of them not gonna snitch, but you always got 1 or 2 haters in every group. Yeah. You always do. You gotta account for people that don't like what you got going on and will do anything to just smear your name a little bit. Yeah. And I had a dude like that, and it got so bad that 2-3 dudes walked up to me and was like, if he say anything, then we'll just say he slipped in the shower. I'm like, y'all don't need to do that. It's okay. He not gonna tell. Even if so, like, I snuck off. It's not. You talking about hurting somebody? You talking about hurting somebody because I snuck off base? Right,
so it just goes on.
Yeah.
That's what they used to teach us as a kid. Once you tell one lie,
yes.
Another one, and to cover up the original lie. And that's what we was trying to teach her, is you have just got to take personal responsibility for a bad decision.
Yep.
But what we do is we say, yeah, it's a bad decision, but they stop at it was a bad decision. And that's all you can be responsible for, because I keep trying to teach her that, Facebook, social media, all this technology stuff has really watered down this word called friends. And everybody, when they're young, they think friends really mean something. And we went through a lot of that with her. When she was in high school, she got caught up into this friend stuff. And I'm going, baby, you don't even know the definition of the word friend. Go look it up. No, I know. No, you don't understand the definition of the word. Well, tell me. I said, look, first of all, Dad is almost, I'm over 55 years old. I'm almost 60 years old. And I can't really say I have any friends besides your mom, you, Reggie, your brother, my sister, my dad. I really can't say I have any. Because to me, definition of a friend is somebody who's going to be there for you no matter what. They don't, they're not going to get caught up in how much money you make, what kind of lifestyle you got. They're going to be there for you no matter what. That's a friend to me. And the definition goes a lot deeper. I was like, just because you play basketball with this chick, just because y'all went to the mall, hung out a few times, just because y'all chit-chat in between classes, that to me is a far-fetched way of calling somebody a friend. Because you don't really know what that person is about. You don't know what, you don't know how they're going to act when you get in the mud with them. You don't know. So it's hard for me to call somebody a friend. I'll call them an acquaintance. I'll call them a passersby. I'll call them somebody I've dealt with, associate, but a friend. But nowadays that word is used so loosely, and everybody calls each other friends. And it's a marketing word anymore. It's just used to market to people. But the problem is when we're young, we get hit with that friend stuff, and then we don't want to let the person down because they're our friend. And when they let us down, we're going, I thought they were my friend.
Well, I think whenever you're her age and people going like from high school into real life or out of college into real life, like where you now dealing with people in the regular world and not in a learning environment of some sort. Right. Like you dealing with a lot of stuff coming at you all day, and mommy and daddy ain't there no more, and a lot of people move away from home and mommy and daddy really ain't there no more. Right. So now they just, because I had that problem whenever I first went to the Army. I stayed away from everybody and just did my own thing whenever I was at basic training, and I just felt like really alone because it's like I can't call none of these people my friend because somebody's always getting somebody else in trouble, or it's just like I didn't know these people. I didn't even need to have a reason. I just don't know you. Where I'm from, you don't just call everybody a friend.
But you could go. Didn't y'all have battle buddies back then?
Battle buddy is different than friend. I call buddies all the time. They're not a friend because we don't hang out really.
But you still had to move around with them.
Yeah.
So you had to hang with them, but you didn't have to like tell them all your stuff.
No. I think this may be one dude in all the military that knows parts about me personally like that, and I just didn't. I felt alone, and I understand where the young, like going from being that young to trying to find your way as an adult. You gotta know that, like you said, not everybody is your friend, because some people really just are pretending to be your friend so they can get something from you or betray you or whatever, do whatever they got to do to get whatever job they want to get done.
Yes,
so
sir.
I feel for her. I hope she just she takes the blinders off.
Well, she passed the first test because after we got on her, I was like, you don't understand. She tells me if she fails again, they were gonna basically boot her out. Mm-hmm. I said, well, that's gonna ruin that's not ruin, but that's going to change your future immensely because you're using part of this opportunity to pay for school. And she's got the school picked out in New York. She's supposed to be playing basketball, went out there and visited the coach. Everything's set up. And I'm going,
you can't do that.
You messing around with these yahoos down here in southern Arizona, and you got a basketball scholarship waiting for you? You are being a straight up fool. And she's like, that. And her mom, I said, look, you ain't no fool, but stop acting like one.
Yeah.
You got your goals set. Focus on your goals. I said, your problem is, and this is bottom line, this is why you're failing, because you're focused on the wrong stuff. No, it's hard. No. It's not hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's challenging. You went to one of the best academic schools in Fort Wayne. I don't think the testing at Canterbury is going to be too inferior to the test in the Army. It's not. 4 years of Canterbury.
It's not. Sitting smarter than me, and I got class leader and honor grad.
And she's told us several times that, she's just her words. The Army got a lot of dumb people in it because they can get into Army. They can't get into the Air Force. They can't get into the Navy. They can't get into the Marines. I'm like, well, if you're hanging out with people that you say are not on your mental level, and you're still playing down to that, and you're not passing, whose fault is that?
Right.
And she got quiet. I was like, you are tripping. You are really tripping. You're supposed to be going over here in your life, and you're down here messing with people that ain't got no goals in their life. You better get your crap together, or you're gonna be hanging with people like that for the rest of your life. And she goes,
Fort Wayne or something.
Yeah, I said, you want to come back to Fort Wayne
and not do nothing? You know,
do your thing. Stop hanging with these people that's caught up in this drama. And then she scored well on her next test. I'm like, you got one more. You got to do the same thing. Clean up your act. Take care of yourself. Take personal responsibility. Do what you went there to do. Keep your eye on your goal and stay close to God. And stop tripping. That's what life does. You get out on your own, like you said, and the next thing you know, you're like, all this stuff.
It's a lot to take in, and you taking in everything. It's like, no, filter.
Thank you.
You got to put a filter on what you want and what you want to be around the whole night.
I'm glad you said it. I'm going to use that word. Let's say somebody said you got to put a filter on all this and all this money that's coming in. And she's like, and she's spending all this money. I'm like, okay, you're spending the money, but you got to go to college. They'll pay. Tell her
she needs to talk to somebody that's been in there and stuff. Tell her you can send her my way.
Okay.
I don't mind at all because I don't want her wasting good years. Like, because that's what I did, man. I did everything she's doing now. I was doing and not doing and wasted so much time. And it's just like, don't be like me. Get to 26 or 27 to finally know what you want to do or how you want to, like, you got plenty of time to come up with a plan and enforce it now and have a whole bunch of years on the back nine where you already set up and you just building on it. Don't wait and get suckered into that, because most of those people, Crane, they just going back home and not doing nothing, or they going to a military base and just sitting there.
Right.
So they're doing something with their life, but not what you trying to do.
They're not doing what they want to do.
Right.
Because they have no plan of action.
Exactly.
So, yeah, make sure I get your number so I can refer her to you, because she needs to hear all the bright minds that can help her stay on track. I think she's figuring it out.
I know she will.
She's figuring it out, but I'm going, you got to go through this tough stuff to get to where you want to get to. That's life. But I said, look, just remember, what did you learn? Always think about what you learned, because the bottom line is, you're going through all this. You went through all these politics in high school basketball, and then now she's going through the politics of military. Well, now you got to go through the politics of college academics and college athletics. And I've been there and done. I haven't done military, but I've done college athletics, and I'm telling her, well, Dad, I know, but
it's just as strict and disciplined.
It is, but she's like, well, Dad, that happened a long time ago. Baby, the rules
it was worse back then as far as discipline.
And then the racism.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, baby, the rules of life don't really change.
I was going to say, you got it just as rough whenever it comes to that sort of thing than anybody will pass you.
Yeah, and she ain't going to have as much racism to deal with as I have to deal with. So I'm going...
Or sexism. People starting to tone down on that, too.
So I'm like,
it's a good time to get what you want to get done and not fall to the wayside with stuff like that.
That's why I'm glad you're doing this, because this is I'm proud of you, bro.
I'm trying. This is even hard. So
yeah, but you're doing it.
Yeah.
If it's not hard, it's not worth it.
No, it's hard in a good way. It's hard in a good way.
Yeah,
it's not hard in a way that it makes me sick to my stomach or that I don't.
You love it.
Oh yeah. I love it a little too much. I should stop stressing sometimes and just let stuff happen. So what else are you doing now? Like, what all are you doing now? Because whenever I was younger in school, you was kind of doing a little bit of everything. The PTP, the being the attorney stuff, and everything.
Well, it's a good question. I've always been a busy person. I get that from my
productive person.
I'd like to think so, but again, I have to stop a lot of times and ask myself, am I being productive or am I just being busy? Because in business, you can be productive or you can be busy. Productive means you're helping people, you're getting people what they need, whether it's a product or service, and then you're getting paid well, or at least getting paid for what you're doing. Well, being busy means I can be in business or call myself in business, and I'm just coming. I know because I've just come out of this recently. I'm like, okay, Crane, it's time for you to get your ass to work. And so right now, what Tanya and I are doing, I can tell you this is what I love to tell young people. One of the most proud things of my life and my career so far is I'm at a point where I'm completely debt free. Completely. That includes the house. That includes all my vehicles, which are old and ugly, but they're mine, and I'll get back to that. And I had some debt to the library, $3.50, and all my young people I'm mentoring, they laugh at me. I'm going, y'all don't understand. When you get debt free up here, you want to be completely debt free. And I'm carrying this $3.50. I mean, I'm going back and forth, returning stuff late. it goes back and forth, $3.50 to $5 over about a course of 3 years. And my young people I mentor, they laugh at me. Man, how you gonna keep saying you debt free? You got $5 into the library. I'm like, and I couldn't argue it. I'm going,
you see?
Oh, you scared me.
That's just Sadie.
Oh, Sadie scared me. What's up, Sadie? What's up, Sadie? Yeah. Well, you checking me out, so I'm checking. She's like, look, don't be touching me.
Yeah, she's a snooty one.
What's up, Sadie?
She do that with everybody. She wants to walk up to you and check you out and feel the vibes, and then be like, I'll just sit back and watch him be him, and then maybe one day I might let him pet me. Maybe.
I got it. She turned on and be like, mother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. She is very.
But yeah, that's one of, and I think that's one of the things I'm moving into now is I want to help young people become debt free. My main reason for that is my last job, and I think it'll be the last job I ever had. I was working at St. Francis, University of St. Francis.
Okay.
And that was about 2 or 3 years ago. And I left there. I was frustrated because I wasn't frustrated with the job. I mean, the people working at St. Francis is a dream job for a lot of people, but for me, I'm at a place in life where I've worked so many jobs. Now I'm at a point where I think I can take the things I've learned. Like I always ask young people, what have you learned? So I started asking myself that question, Crane, because I have had a ton of jobs, David. A ton of jobs. I have had a lot of jobs. If you saw a resume of how many jobs I've had, you'd be like,
see, now is that a bad thing or a good thing?
It's a great thing. It's a great thing because the question is, what did you learn, Crane? And I learned a lot of things from those jobs. One of the main things I learned is Crane doesn't like working a job anymore. That's one of the main lessons I learned. So I'm at a point now where I refuse to work for somebody else in a job, but that's kind of not true because everything we do, we're working for somebody. Mm-hmm. It just depends on how you look at it. I would like to be independent, meaning providing services or products and services to the general public and be paid for that, and then let the general public be my boss. Mm-hmm. That's what I prefer to do. I remember reading a book one time, and it says, as long as you have, I'm roughly paraphrasing, but you'll never run out of money as long as you have customers. Something like that. So basically what that means is I have customers in my businesses, and I have more than one business. And so as long as all those paying customers are paying me, I'll never be broke. I'll never run out of money. And so I looked at that and said, well, all the things I've learned from this string of jobs I've had in my working career, why can't I take what I've learned, culminate that into a ball of experience and utilize that to create an income? And that's kind of like what you're doing. You're building something here that eventually, if not already, can generate you an income. And I learned some other lessons. I teach young people that I learned this from Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I would advise most young people read that book.
You said Rich Dad?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Okay.
It's written by a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. It's a New York Times
Robert
bestseller.
Kiyosaki?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Kiyosaki.
And he is a Hawaiian guy. He wrote this book years ago, and he's got a series of them. Uh-huh. And that is a great book to read. And I quote him all the time, and I do a lot of reading too.
Do you still follow that one guy that, like, it was an older white guy, him and his wife, they, like, I know one of the videos you showed us, like, he said, like, you having the physical cash and putting it in the envelopes and stuff. I can't remember what his name is.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Dave Ramsey created a program called Financial Peace. His first book, I think, was called Financial Peace University. He still does that. And matter of fact, Dave Ramsey is one of the people we followed to get out of debt. We followed his plan. And he has great things he teaches. You're absolutely right. I follow Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, what's his name, Nightingale, Earl Nightingale.
Yeah, I've followed some of his stuff kind of online, and some people like always like have negatives, something. But I was like, maybe not everything they say works for 100% everybody, but you can still take lessons from what they do and apply some things.
You can.
So just think, even if you're not in the position of the people he's talking to.
You're absolutely
because right. I still, like, that's how I keep account. I'm like not to down my school or anything, but out of all the classes I've taken, I was telling my girlfriend this yesterday, there's probably only 2 to 3 classes of the syllabus stuff that was taught that was new to me. Anything else I known from you, my mom,
right.
or just being interested in those things in general.
Right.
And I think you don't need to go to school to know how to manage your money and stuff, and you don't have to.
You said that right. I'll tell you this: if you go to school, you're not going to learn how to manage your money.
Really?
Oh no! Think about it. School basically trains us to be, and this is my opinion, but school basically trains us to be employees.
Oh yes, yes. My teacher yesterday, we was having a problem because he was accusing certain of us of not caring to do our homework because this lovely sir decided to assign homework and he gave us the answers. So then it was like a multiple choice format. So what he wanted you to do is give an explanation for the answer, and it was hard to do an explanation whenever he gave examples of what not to do and then the correct example, and it was like it was just like, it's hard to do that. And then you sitting there asking about it, and he was like, well, what's wrong? You guys aren't you guys managers? Don't you guys want to go be a manager? I was like, no, I don't. I was a manager, and that's not fun. And then, because I was like, I've done the things that some of these teachers are suggesting, and I find myself thinking like, this is like high school all over again in some areas, and it's just like, I didn't have a good time in high school. But I will say my college experience, as far as communicating with the instructors and knowing them as people and the life lessons they know, heavily outweighs their syllabus stuff, because I've learned things from all of my teachers more so than I've learned through any teacher that in any school format, even in the Army, like, so just in general. So school has its pros and cons. So,
and I don't put school down, because I'll be honest with you, Crane would not be where he is.
I agree with you though.
If it wasn't for my
I agree with
I
that
learned
reasoning.
so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell people, understand, I look at schooling differently now than when I was an educator. Back then I was preaching, oh Dave, you need to go to school. You need to go to school. You need to go to school. Now I'm kind of like, well, what is it that you want to do? What's your end game? What do you want?
That's why I stayed away from it for so long, because I was like, I'm not wasting it. Forget the money. I'm not wasting my time, and I'm not wasting their time. I was like, if I'm just not interested in doing that right now. One day maybe. Right. But I bashed it so much because it's like, what? Well, Crane, is just at this point how the world works. You don't need a degree to do the same jobs that people think. I just personally witnessed a lot of people get jobs that they say you need a degree for, or they've created a job where they say you should have got a degree for it. I've seen kids younger than me make it viral on the internet and get paid. So to me, that, like, the traditional system of how school is, and just the stigma that's with, like, once you get out of high school, you need to go to college or to the Army or something. Changed. It's not the same anymore.
Right, and that's the main thing, is it's changed. And I try to help people in my generation understand that. They say, well, the millennials this and the millennials that. I said, well, they really don't have it wrong. What are you trying to say? Well, just first of all, calm down. Calm down. And understand that times have changed. They go, what's that got to do with anything? Well, you got to understand, when you and I went to high school, then we were still trained in the industrial mindset. And we were trained to get out of high school, go to college, get a good job that's going to last, make a career, and get you good benefits. And that's what we were taught. They go, yeah. I said, but it doesn't work that way anymore. Well, why not? I said, okay, now we can talk. They're calmer. You got to understand, most things are being outsourced. And we're talking, and I'm talking from money perspective. Most things are being outsourced.
Yep.
I'm talking about outside of this country.
Yep.
You call most big companies for whatever services you have, and you're talking to somebody you can barely understand them. Well, if that's the case, that means most of the companies that employ people are not based in America anymore.
Nope.
And that means when people graduate, that's why young people, when they graduate, try to go get a job. The promise of what the colleges are offering you has changed. College is a big industry. I mean, they are basically they are in bed with the banks, and they're trying to get you guys to come to school and get a loan, because most of you can't afford the cost. I mean, USF, when I was there, was $36,000 a year, and that's 2 or 3 years ago. So what is it now? Hovering around $40,000. one of the young men that graduated from there this past spring, he still works with me in one of my businesses, which I'll explain that. But I've been training him for the last 3 years while I was there. I said, look, I'm going to tell you something. I'm leaving. He goes, oh, okay. And he would come to my office on a regular basis. I said, so you can go with me if you want. He goes, what? I said, look, I have a business. He goes, I know you have several businesses. Right. You can work with me if you want to. And I can start training you before I leave. But I am going to leave. And then that means once you graduate, I said, do you like the things we've been talking about? And when he came to my office, we would talk about money mainly. And I would talk about it from the perspective of how important money is. And people say, you know, I remember this one girl came to my office. I can tell you this story. It's funny. She came to my office, and this is white girl. There's a reason I got to tell you that. So she's sitting and she didn't want to be there. Because the program I worked in was trio, and she came in. She says, why am I here? She got her arm all across her chest. I said, well, dear, do you know anything about the trio program? She goes, no. And I said, well, let me explain to you what trio is. She goes, I don't think you need to. I said, well, you got an idea. She goes, I think it's for poor people and for people that get low grades. I said, that's what a lot of people think, but that's not what trio is. She goes, okay, then tell me. I said, look, trio is a program set aside for people. You have to have 2 criteria to be qualified. You're low income or you're first generation. She goes, I said, right, first generation means you're the first one in your family to graduate with a 4-year college degree. 4 years. Because the government has assessed that if you have a 4-year college degree, it changes the trajectory of your family tree. It really does. I was a first generation child. So my parents did not have a 4-year college degree. My mom, I think the best she did was, she did well in her career, but my mom had a trade. She had what they call it, a trade certificate. So that means she graduated high school and went and got a trade. Her trade was sewing.
Okay.
And she ended up being the personnel manager of Park Center. She would hire their PhDs. So my mom did okay for a country girl from Alabama. My dad's a country boy from Arkansas. 9th grade, he dropped out in 8th grade, quit school, came to Fort Wayne and fell into professional sales of insurance. My dad, people would look at him and go, I thought your dad had a degree because of the way he carried himself.
I was going to say, because whenever I met him,
he was very, very always clean dressed. Always shoes polished. But my dad, people don't know it, but my dad got his GED when he was 74 years old. In Chicago. He also, at that time, he was voted Student of the Year out of all the city colleges of Chicago, and that same year he wrote a book of his life. My parents have always been professional hustlers, always. So I learned a lot of that. But I'm trying to help people understand the times have changed now. And when you go get a college degree, these schools are not necessarily. What's wrong? I went too long.
No, I was just making sure it was not going to cut it off because it goes to the screensaver.
Yeah, these schools, and the schools, Indiana Tech, you see how fast they're growing, how big they're growing. Well, now they have to attract students to fill up the rooms to pay for all of that. But what's the guarantee of young people getting jobs when they come out of school? There's never been a guarantee. Yeah. But the bottom line is the marketplace has changed so much. These companies are outsourcing things. They want to move people to other countries. But a lot of young people don't want to move to other countries. They're scared or whatever. I love to travel, but a lot of people don't. There's so many things that you have to calculate in as to whether or not an education is the right thing for that individual. Because like you said, there's so many other opportunities out here. If you're a creative person and you don't mind using this thing between your ears called a brain muscle, then you can do very well. So I'm talking to this young lady, and she's in my office, and she's sitting there, and she's just looking at me. And I explained to her what trio is, and she goes, well, I don't think I fit into that. I said, maybe not. I said, but that's not the reason I called you in. And she goes, well, why am I here? I said, look, I'm a different kind of education counselor. I said, for instance, looking around my office, what do you see? And she's sitting there looking at me like this, and she goes, I said, right, what do you see behind me? She says, books. I said, books about what? She goes, you know. I said, no, say it. She goes, I don't need to say it. I said, say it. She goes, I said, say it. She goes, money. I said, right. I teach about money. And she goes, that's no. And I said, well, what you have a problem with that? She goes, yeah. I said, why? She goes, if that's all you're about. I said, okay. So you think that money is the root of all evil? She goes, yes. I said, is that biblical? She goes, yes. I said, no, that's not biblical. She goes, it is biblical. I said, no, it's not. She goes, okay, then show me. I said, sure. So I reached behind me, grabbed one of my Bibles. I said,
for the love of money.
I said, read that. And she read it. She goes, for the love of money is the root of all evil. I said, right. She goes, that's what I said. I said, no, that's not what you agreed to. I said, you thought the love of money was the root of all evil. She goes, yeah. I said, it says, it says for the love of money. But she saw money is the root of all evil. That's what it was. Yeah. And I said, it says for the love of money.
Because they cut that first part out. I learned that whenever I was younger. It's like some of y'all just cut out these life lessons and don't even try to.
Keywords.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Very keywords that they don't want you to pick up on.
And she was thinking, but people just in America, what we tend to do is we're lazy thinkers, so we get to the point. Yeah. And she thought I was saying she thought I was saying money is the root of all evil. I said, dear, money is not the root. That says for the love of money is the root of all evil. Or so for the love of money is that all sorts of all kinds of evil. That's basically what it says. And she goes, huh. I said, so just like a lot of people, you cut off the real meaning of it. I said, I never said I love money. You see a lot of books in my office talking about money. That doesn't mean I love money. She goes, well, it did. And then she was like this. Then she kind of loosened up. She says, well, if you don't love money, why are all the books in there? I said, that's a great question. I said, do you think money is important? I said, you don't think money's important? Not that important. I said, really? I said, now you came out of the military and came through school, right? She goes, right. I said, so you're a little bit more mature than most of these students here. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I said, well, you know the value of money more than most of these students. She goes, yeah. I said, but you got the nerve to sit there and tell me money's not important? Well, you know what I mean. No. Break it down for me, sister. What does it really mean? And she goes, money is not. It's not one of the most important things. I said, I disagree. He said, how do you say that? I said, to me, and I've been taught this in my businesses, money is up there next to air and water. In our society, you got to have it. And she goes, laughs. Yeah, okay. I said, now look, I'll give you a prime example. My goal is to make $70,000. Do you think that's a reasonable amount of money? She goes, and then she goes back to the arms folded. That's not bad. I said, is that too low, too high? She goes, no, I think that's reasonable. I said, do you really think that? She goes, yeah. I said, I don't think you're going to find what I'm saying as being reasonable. She goes, well, what are you saying? I said, I just said I want to earn $70,000. She goes, that's okay. I said, no. What did you hear me say? She said, you want to make $70,000. I said, $70,000 what? She says, $70,000 per year is very, very, very reasonable in Fort Wayne. I said, I never said I wanted to make $70,000 a year. She goes, yes, you did. I said, no. There you go, not listening again. I said, let me teach you something in life. You have to learn to listen to people. First, we talked about the love of money is the root of all evil. Now you're talking about $70,000. I never said I want to make $70,000 per year. I said I wanted to earn $70,000. You put the rest in that. And she goes, so what are you saying? I said, brace yourself. I want to make $70,000 per month. And she goes, oh. And I said, what's wrong? She goes, that's a little over the top. I said, really? I said, okay, here's another lesson for you. We're having this conversation in Fort Wayne, Indiana. If we were sitting in, let's say, Silicon Valley having this conversation.
That's a normal day.
And she goes,
yep.
Huh.
I will attest to everything he's saying is true. Not because I was there, because he said that to me. And we have had the same talks, and I know he has said that to other people.
Oh, yeah.
2, I'm glad you ventured off to do other things, but you would have been the perfect teacher, because since I was, 15 or 16, I've always seen you in action with other people, and you can always pull stuff out of them voluntarily. They'll give it to you. You'll just, you know what I mean, because you're patient and you get them intrigued, and then you make it seem like you don't have to answer my question, but you know you want to answer the question. Oh yeah, you know you want to answer the question. Right, so you can fully get people to engage. And then that's how that conversation right there always happens.
Yes, sir.
And because not that you're directing or knowing what's going, but you already know what you want from the from the conversation and where you want to go.
Yeah.
they don't see that just yet because you already thinking moves ahead. They still stuck on. She's stuck on money is root of evil or the 70,000 per year, and you like, well, you got catch up to me, but I understand. Take your time to do it. Just when you get here, you're gonna see what I'm talking about.
Right, but I know that me being older, and I've made a lot of those mistakes, and I know where I used to think, like where she was and where you were, and I know what I wanted, and then I'm later on in life, and I realize, okay, what I thought I wanted, life has changed, so I don't want that as much. So to me, money is important, but I'm not willing to run after it like I used to. But you mentioned something very key, and that's another thing that I teach, sales. A lot of people will tell me I'm not into sales, and my father taught me a valuable lesson years ago. He says, Crane, I'm gonna tell you something. And I'm going to use you for an example. He says, if you're in David's house and you're talking to him about working with your company, and you want to recruit him and teach him how to sell this and sell that, and he goes, Crane, I like it, but I'm not into sales. And I say, okay, David. And like you said, I'm still teaching, so I'm like, okay, David, yeah. But you would be a great salesperson. You're going, I feel you, Crane, but I don't think so. No, David, based on some of the things I've seen and some of the ways you responded, man, you'd be a great salesperson. Crane, but I don't feel comfortable with sales. Well, we could teach you all that. Nah, I don't want to do this. But David, I'm telling you, Crane, I'm not into sales, man. That's it. Can you just leave my house? You're upsetting me. My father said, if you get up and Crane, you walk out and leave David's house, he just sold you. I never forgot that.
That's crazy.
That is true.
That's crazy.
People don't understand that sales is simply a transference of belief. If you believe more than I do that you're not a salesperson, then I believe that you are, you gonna sell me. It's who believes it more. And people don't get that. They associate sales with, I'm trying to talk you into something that you don't want to do, and I'm gonna get money out of you. That is not sales. I heard one of my trainers, he told me years ago, he said, the biggest sale you're ever gonna make is when you sell yourself. I never forgot that either. You have to sell yourself on whatever it is you're into. Like my daughter, I'm trying to teach her, baby, you got to sell yourself on you came from this and you came from this and you came from this. Whatever these yahoos going to throw at you is tiny compared, but you got to sell yourself on that. If you go in there, believe me, oh my God, they're going to mess with my mind and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. Well, yeah, okay, then you just been sold and you lost. Whoever believes he can or whoever believes she can, you're right. Whoever believes he can't or whoever, if she believes she can't, he or she is right.
Being that you said it now, I kind of like, I feel a little enlightened about things. Only because I feel that same way about things, but I have a different thought process on it. I feel like anytime, like now, to me, this is an opportunity for me, even for a person that always sits across from me. Like, it's an opportunity for you to do something with the opportunity I was given to you. And a lot of times, people don't understand that this is an opportunity.
Exactly.
Whenever me and my cousin were doing a podcast and I was doing a plug show for it, I was telling my cousin, I was like, listen, man, you got to understand, just because we not in Hollywood or we not in somebody that's like big and, you know what I mean, got all these credentials, whatever, this is an opportunity and I'm not going to blow it. You know what I'm saying? So on the sales part, if I would have knew what you said, like then
right,
I would have even more so like methodically been able to do some more than just acting on it, because I just had that feeling. I never knew how to act on it with like in a methodical way to make a plan out of it.
Right.
But now that you say that, it's like, you know what I mean? Because now I'm doing my podcast. That's, you know what I mean? You just throwing lessons out there. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that one.
And you're selling.
Take that one.
You're selling. And people don't understand that they're selling every day.
Yep.
It's just maybe not a financial exchange of money, but sales is just trying to get this person. Every time you go to a good movie and you come back and tell somebody about that good movie and they go, you've just sold them on that movie. And people don't get that. They go, and I'll tell people that. They go, well, yeah, but what you're talking about is different. It all depends on how you see it. And I took all that experience I've had in all those jobs and I said to myself, what's the one thing in those jobs that if I can take everything in that job and put it into a capsule of usability, what's the one thing that'll make that work? Sales. Because now I've got to sell myself on the fact that everything I've gained is useful in me creating my own income from home. And then I got to sell myself on, I've got to be able to take this and I've got to be able to help somebody else see what I see, so they will join me on my team and I will recruit them and we'll make money together, and then I'll make money on that. And that's all it is about. And I learned some other things, like if you don't have a dream, you're destined to be part of someone else's. These are things these are truths that I live by, because the way I look at it is, most people don't like a job. Let's just keep it real. Mm-hmm. Most people do not like what they do. Old, young, people will try to talk you into believing that they do, but they don't like what they do. They don't like the hours, or they don't like the pay, or they don't like the people they work with, or they don't like having to get up in the snow and go every day. There's something they don't like. But if for somebody like me to come and say, well, you know, with what I do, I can teach you how to work from home part-time or even spare time and make enough money that you can supplement your income and one day get like I am and you can walk away from your job. Oh yeah, well, yeah, that stuff, I don't know about that stuff. What do you mean that stuff? Well, you're talking about a pyramid. That girl said it to me, and then I said, what do you mean by pyramid? She goes, well, you know, one of those things was how you go up, everybody makes money off you. And I said, where do you work? And she told me, I said, what's the CEO of your company? She goes, I've heard his name, but I said, have you met him? She goes, no. I said, does he make more money than you? Well, I think so. How much you make an hour? I make $14 an hour. Do you think the CEO of that restaurant makes more money than you? Yes. What's your point? I said, you don't know my point? No. I said, look, what I'm trying to tell you is a pyramid is the strongest structure known to man. Yes, my company is a pyramid. The company you work for is a pyramid. The church you go to, it's a pyramid. Our government is a pyramid. The pyramid is the Egyptian pyramids, strongest structure known to man. They still can't figure out how it survived all these years. A pyramid is not a bad thing. I don't know who's taught you that it is, but why is a pyramid a bad thing? You got somebody at the top, they make the harder decisions, it flows down, you happen to be down here.
Well,
you
that's
get up
a
there.
whole other thing now. I can tell you, it's just because
But people don't get it.
Right, people truly don't get it, and they're
simple.
trying to make something seem like that. Like, okay, so if I spend all this time and this podcast becomes something big one day, and I can employ people, those people now feel like they should be able to make the same amount as you do, or just overturn what you do. Like, but you wasn't here whenever the long...
When you sit there interviewing
you
Crane.
benefiting off of anything else that I've been doing. You just ride the coattails. Like, and I'm glad to have you on, but, like, let's just be honest.
Pay
like,
you what you're worth, give it to the company.
And people don't understand that. They think equality and income and all this other stuff that they don't fully understand.
But see, that's where things in America, and I learned this a long time ago, that's where things split up when you're talking about, they say America is a capitalist nation. And I have to educate. And you're right, I do a lot of education because I came from education. So I educate people to try to help them understand, okay, I know my mind is here because I read a lot, and your mind is not there. But how can I get you from here to there? Well, that means I'm going to come back here, have a conversation with you, and if you're willing, I'm going to take you where I think, where my thought process is. If you're not willing to go with me, if we're going and I have to keep tugging at you, I'm going to go back here and invite you to come to me now. And that means that you're going to have to show me, just like the military does, you got to show me that you're ready to take on the responsibility that we have available for you. And that's what you're talking about.
I think that's the two problems for why people don't. They know whenever they go to a job and clock in, everything's already laid out for them. You just got to go in there and do it. The problem is, I don't think a lot of people even have dreamed. Like, you know what I mean? They don't have a dream. They never took the time to do what you said and find out what you like and what you're good at and make something of it. Even if it's something that is already where you got to work for somebody. People just, they don't dream. And two, even if they do find a dream, the hardest part about the dream is actually making it into reality. Right. And that comes with work. I was talking to Jeff last time, and he was telling me, on the podcast, like, that he's just waiting for this and that, and I was like, Jeff, you can't wait. I can't wait. You can't just sit there and wait and keep digging in the same hole, or just stop digging altogether and like, well, someday something's gonna fall in. Like, who do you think? Like, we live in Fort Wayne. I just gotta be honest with you. Them opportunities don't come to people like us that's just sitting here. Those opportunities are for the people that's in those positions to grab those opportunities, which we are not in. Not saying that you can't get there, but you got to do more than just talk about it and just keep claiming it. Like, that's half of it. That's half the battle. But you gotta put your own guts behind it. You can't just keep it comes down to comfortability.
Yeah.
It's like what you comfortable with, and like I said many times on here, I don't hate on people in them wanting to get a job, but you don't have to. You don't have to.
If you don't want to, but you also, like you said, you have to be willing to work, and you have to be willing to think.
Yes.
Like one of the people I listen to quite a bit. Matter of fact, I was listening to him every day. His name Earl Nightingale. And
I heard him. Yeah.
He made something called the what is it? The Greatest Secret, I think it's called. I think it's called the Secret.
The Secret.
The Secret.
Oh yeah.
And he did one version of it, and you can pull him up on listen to him. He has a 30-minute recording, and it talks about the Strangest Secret. That's what it is. The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You listen to that, and he said, listen to this daily, and he starts it out by talking to he was talking about this professor was quoted years ago, and they asked the great professor. He said, "Doctor, what is the problem with men today?" And he said the great doctor stopped for a moment and he thought, and he goes, "The problem with men today is they simply don't think." And then he goes into more, and Earl talks about all this stuff, and he said that's so true. He said because most people, they don't think to the point that, he said if you take an average, and it's still true today, if you took an average of 100 men, and at the age of 25 to 27, you ask them, do they want to be successful? They'd be like, yeah, I want to be successful. I say, great. Would you like to be rich? Yeah, I want to be rich. Okay, great, go do it. And they say, yeah, and they get out and they go to work and they do podcasts, do everything. He said, but sadly, by the time the average of those men, by the age 65, from 25 to 65, he said, out of 100 men, 1 will be wealthy, 4 will be financially independent. I think he said 15 to 20 will still be working, and the rest will be dead or dead broke. And he says, why? Why is it? He said, it doesn't matter what age you look at. Every time you look at that, that's going to be the numbers. And that is always average. And he's absolutely right. And he says, why? Because most people conform. He said the opposite of courage in our country is not cowardice, it's conformity.
Yeah,
most
safe.
People conform. Why do people conform? He said most people, they will get up and go to work get up, go to work, do the job, get up, go home, get ready to do it again. He says, why do most people do that? Because everybody else around them does it, and they've been taught by everybody around them conformity. Conform. Don't rock the boat. Don't get out of line. Don't do anything that other people around you. Because if you do get out of line, you do. Like me, I'm in network marketing. This is my company, WorldVentures. People ask me, "What do you do?" I'm in network marketing. Oh, you're in one of those scams. Why would you say that? Why? Everybody knows it's a scam. Everybody? I don't know that. Nobody told me. Well, come on, Crane. You made any money in that? Yeah, I had a day where in 4 hours I made $8,000. Man, that ain't even real. You asked me a question, I gave you an answer. You got any other questions?
Because
they don't believe
it. Because they're used to hanging around the people that are in the scam, so now they're just used to if anybody comes up, professional or not, they're just like, oh, well, you're part of.
I don't think they're used to hanging around people that are in scams. I think they're used to hanging around people that conform, and in their minds, everything is a scam.
Right. Yeah.
And anything that goes against what they've been taught in the norm.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, that's the way people. I've done this for 20 years and 22 years, and most people, the way they look at life is if it doesn't fit into a job, which is what I've been taught, then it's either a scam or you're special or you got lucky or something like that. And I'm going, well, what happened to hard work? What happened to learning about something I was uncomfortable with to the point that I'm comfortable with it? And just because you're uncomfortable with it doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yep.
I've become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that makes most people uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
That makes them very uncomfortable. I can walk into just about any setting and be comfortable. I'm married interracially, so that doesn't bother me. Walking in, talking to people that happen to be gay or lesbian, that doesn't bother. I've done the work in that area, that doesn't bother me. Education, business, it doesn't bother. So I teach people that you have to learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you can learn that, if you say to yourself, I can learn that, and you stick to your guns on that, then you can learn. And then another thing people have a problem with is commitment. Now, I have a definition of commitment. And most people don't, when I ask them what was the word commitment, they'll give me this long dissertation that'll take 1 or 2 minutes. And they'll say, well, so what's your definition? And mine will take probably about 3-4 seconds to say. And I'm going, when you look at life that simply, you start realizing that can apply to everything in life. Commitment is doing the thing you said you do long after the mood you said it in has left you. It's simple. So if I say it, if I open my mouth and say it, then I'm going to do it. If I'm not going to do it, then I'm going to think, and I'm not going to say it. But if you say it, then make it happen. But that's the problem with most people, is they say it and then they change their mind or their mood changes. Man, I changed my mind. Man, bump you. Then they want to fight you because inwardly they're mad because they know they said something they can't hold to, and you hold them to. So it's just it's a combination of things.
Yeah.
If you can learn all these things that I've learned in life, then yeah, you can create your own, whatever it's going to be. You can create your own. I'm so proud of you for doing this, and part of the reason I want to do it is like I want to learn. I've never learned, but people keep telling me, you need to put together a podcast. I'm like, well, I'm old school. I don't know nothing about that.
Well,
so
I mean, the good thing for you wouldn't even need all this. You could just do an audio one and just load it up to whatever you want. You could do your own website. You know what I mean? So if you want to help like that, I could help you or anything.
You just said it, and I'm gonna hold you to it. I do.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. It's
commitment.
It's not hard.
You just said it.
It's cool. It's cool. I'm there.
But there's a lot of things that when I talk to young people, they tell me, yeah, you got some stuff you need to get out there, and I'm going. I agree. And I would love to do it because I love helping people, but at the same time, I want people that are going to take the words and apply them. I don't want to waste my time or waste theirs.
But what I realize is, Crane, to be real with you, and I through this past week, it was a really trying time for me mentally because I get more love and support from people through social media than the people
you don't know.
That I don't know,
yes, sir.
Than the people I do know. And I kind of got a temper tantrum about it and felt entitled that people in my own city should at least try, you know what I mean? But that's not how life is, and I got off my high horse and I calmed down off my emotions and I kind of talked through some stuff and I thought through some more stuff. And, you know what I mean? That's what you got to do every time you hit something like this and you got a dream, you got to work through that. You can't just give up every time you deem a bump in the road came. Like, I literally made up a situation just so I could just be like, I quit. I don't want to do this no more. It's too hard. And that, as soon as I say that, I'm like, see, it's not too hard. I need to figure this out. I got a blueprint, and I just need to keep tweaking it. That's all you got to do. Get a plan, even if it sucks. Even if the plan is horrible and it's going to go wrong. At least you know what you, like you said, whenever I went to Army, at least I know it's something I don't want to do.
Exactly.
So, or I should do or I can't do or what, it's not going to work.
So you eliminate that.
Yes.
And now, so you got
a list full of things that's not going to work. Now do another list.
Exactly.
And that could be a list of half of things working. You just don't know. You're just not trying. And at this point, I'm like, I'm done trying for other companies because for me, my problem with companies is I put so much work and time to them, they just throw you to the wayside whenever they felt like you.
It's
not all, but half of the ones I was a part of, those would do that, and it was like.
But there's a reason for that too. Part of the reason is because they've worked with so many young people who have thrown them to the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
So they
I understand. I just don't want to be a part of that cycle.
Well, let's do this. We'll make a deal then, because I got to get going. But,
for sure. I got her.
You helped me with learning how to do the whatever you said, the podcast or the whatever other thing. The what is the other one? Not the podcast, but what?
What? I don't.
If I wanted to do
you could do just the audio.
Okay, you help me with the
audio version of it.
And I will help you with the goals that you have. I can kind of coach you through all that because it's not hard. You just need somebody there who can tell you what's up.
Oh, well, Crane, to be honest, I never thought that you wouldn't, even if I didn't have this. Only because
absolutely.
One, that's the person you are, but two, I wanted to prove to people like you and my mom and people that's, you know what I mean, been in my corner that like I can use the lessons y'all gave me, even though I've been a late bloomer or I just ignored certain callings or whatever it may be. But like, I'm serious, so I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm too focused on actually doing it. So it's not that I forgot about anybody or anything, but I just been really busy trying to fix myself.
Been getting yourself together.
And then, before this podcast or anything, just getting my personal stuff together, then getting myself together with people, and then professionally where I want to go is all a process. So I think people, like I was telling my girlfriend, like my real father to me isn't the best, and you can't pick your parents, but I've had people, and I was like, Crane is probably the only like real father figure I ever had, because other than shaving, you done taught me all the other more important things that I'm being serious though. Like I never had them, and they just always been thoughts that I thought were mine, but it's like whenever I really think about it, I can't take credit for those things because I learned them from people like you and my mom and just anybody that truly cared. And I don't want to, just name names, but it's people out there. So I will definitely help you with that. What all are you doing before we wrap this up? You still do I know you got the WorldVentures.
I do WorldVentures. I don't do Legal Shield as much anymore. I do have some clients I still serve. But what I love about that is I still get residual income from that. So that's what I love about that type of sales. And then I also have a youth group. It's called All Things Possible Teenpreneurs, where I train young people to think, behave, and
I remember when you started that.
Yeah, I started almost 9 years ago. It'll be 9 years in October. And then we also have another business called Referee Training School, LLC, where we recruit and train basketball officials. Okay. And our last training class was we partnered with Purdue on that. So we got a lot going on. Okay. But I've got to, and obviously I still officiate basketball and volleyball. But I've got another appointment I got to get to. Somebody's texting me. No problem. So I'd love to do it again and help out any way I can, man.
I appreciate
I'm proud of
you. Thanks,
sir. What you're doing, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Take it easy, yo.